My mom was an invisible woman. Not in the H.G. Wells kind of way, invisible man, no. She was a hospital cleaning woman, and nobody was allowed to speak to her. The doctors weren't allowed to speak to her, or she wasn't allowed to speak to them. She was invisible to a lot of people. And when she wasn't working, she was dealing with my alcoholic, abusive dad and 3 children that she was absolutely overwhelmed by. And when she wasn't working, she napped a lot. She was an undiagnosed depressive. She went to work, she came home, she kept a tidy house in rented apartments. We never had our own home. She made simple meals, and she had very little social life. Doesn't take years to understand the correlation between how small she made herself and how big I've worked to make myself. My mom did not concern herself with balance. She was a woman in a time and a place without options. She couldn't concern herself with balance because, frankly, I'm not even sure she knew what balance was. She did those things, she came home, she napped. My mom died a tired old woman at 69. Balance for her was a word that had no meaning. She, like most women of her time and socioeconomic background, did the thing that was in front of her, and that's what she did. My life is a little bit different. So I've been to many, many conferences and women-centric events, and there is usually a breakout session or a guided meditation on work-life balance. And what I come away with understanding is that for women, balance is bullshit. How did women in particular get saddled with the labor of balancing? Why at single gender male conferences or mixed gender conferences are there no male leaders shepherding other males into the various factions of work, home, child, leisure? Why do you think that is? Here's why. Because it's a false concept. Balance is an illusion, and it's another bag full of hooey that women have been saddled with since we entered the workforce en masse about 100 years ago. At one of the last panel discussions I attended, there were executives, women executives, and business owners, all tasked with answering variations of the "how do you balance all the things" question, as if we had a choice, even with all of our options. Women are the masters of seeing and doing what needs to be done. And we do it constantly, innovatively, and ceaselessly. I mean, can you imagine a panel discussion with male executives and business owners being asked, how do you balance all the things? Dollars, that most of those answers would start with, well, my wife handles that. In this excellent Fortune article that rang big bells for me, author Alyssa Jaffe writes, as a former competitive gymnast, I learned that balance is essentially opposing muscles, constricting and relaxing to create the illusion of balance. Balance is actually the act of being unbalanced. I agree. To achieve what looks like balance, it looks like you have to stop moving. In reality, balance means you never stop moving. So we're gonna do a little experiment. Everybody up. Okay, I want you to lift your right leg and balance. See, now to the AV people in the back, we look like this lovely flock of unmoving flamingos. But each of you knows what it's taking to balance. It is movement, it is flex, it is control, it is flow. Have a seat. It is flow. With all the things that we women have to touch and handle and manage and facilitate, designate, and do on a daily basis, balance can't exist. It's impossible. There is only flow, like the movement of water, the moving of one thing to another, to another, to another. And sometimes that movement is really slow and leisurely. And sometimes that movement is fast and frenetic. Because it's not just work or life, it's work and life and all the things smooshed together. Here's what I mean. Women are still the primary child caregivers. About 66 to 95%. We are the primary elder caregivers, 60 to 80%. We handle the bulk of household decisions household chores, about 65%. The household decisions, whether medical, financial, educational, the cognitive things, like who remembers birthdays, who remembers appointments, those are the cognitive things. And we work. Some at home, some from home, and some out in the workforce. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, women account for 56.8% of the workforce in the United States. In administrative and supportive roles across the scope of industries, including healthcare and education, women make up between 80 and 90% of the workforce in the United States. Now, if we look at hospitality industries or education, women make up the largest portion of entry-level positions. Women like housekeepers, cleaning people, servers. Roles and women like my mom, who were and still are literally the infrastructure of not only the United States, but of the world. We literally make things move. Now, the last 100 years have been tremendous in shifts and gains for women, losses also, in terms of equality, equity, and work roles. Out of time and necessity, we women have inserted ourselves into systems and workforces that were not built for us, and frankly, sometimes would prefer that we weren't there. And once we got past a narrow range of roles, we asserted ourselves into quality continuing education, resulting in more women in a much broader range of roles, from trades to the C-suite. It has not been easy. And you know, the struggle is real. The struggle is real. Now, I've been with my husband for more than 20 years. And in all of that time, we both, at varying times, have been the breadwinner. And in my loving, imperfect, and mostly satisfying marriage, David, are you here? No. I have always been the primary child caregiver. I have been the person who plans and prepares most of the meals. I have been the cognitive load. I made all the appointments, all the doctor's things. I handled all the finances. And I worked. My workload did not get easier those years that I made more money. And that's the way of it. Again, it's not just work and life, it's work life. And it's smooshed together and there are no clear edges, ever. It's almost hard to believe that in the United States, we women have had the right to vote for about 100 years. Black women for 60. We've actually been able to own property in our own name for about 120 years. We've been allowed to hold credit in our name since 1974. I want you to think about that for a moment. That means your own bank account, your own mortgage, your own credit card. Now, I'm not saying Grammy and Grampy didn't love each other, but Grammy did not have options. Oh, and marital rape was outlawed in 1993, meaning that prior to that, you did not own your own body. In 2013, women were allowed into combat. So when I graduated high school, I was really torn between wanting to become an actor and wanting to go join the Air Force, because I really, really wanted to fly jets. But when I talked to the recruiter, he pretty much patted me on the head, was like, women can't fly jets. Well, here we are now. Welcome to the 21st century, where while we can fly jets and go to the moon, we are also threatened with losing our bodily autonomy and maybe even our right to vote. It's sometimes very, very hard to be a woman. COVID is still the elephant in the room, my friends. Post-pandemic, over 1 million women had to leave the workforce because of childcare and distance learning disparities. We lost gains that took decades to make, and we're still feeling the effects, working mothers in particular. And we are currently faced with a government and administration that has no problem telling women that they're ugly, stupid, and unfit for their jobs. And while we all keep working towards equality and parity, a Pew Research Center study showed that that working husbands have more leisure time than working wives. The divide is greater for those with children. I know, I was shocked when I read that. Shocked, I tell you. The origins of the phrase work-life balance started in the UK in the late 1970s, early 80s, as part of a movement to get female factory workers more flexible schedules and maternity leave, issues that men at the time didn't need or didn't want to concern themselves with. Issues we are still dealing with today. In the current landscape, rich in social media and 24-hour digital access to everything, the phrase work-life balance has become a marketing ploy. The concept has been bastardized, both overtly and slyly, to make you feel like you're not good enough. It's a way to undercut all the things that women do by making us feel unbalanced, insufficient, and as if we're not trying quite hard enough. Here's what I propose. Can we please box and bury the very stupid, outdated, and gendered idea of work-life balance? It doesn't exist. We don't have to make ourselves small or be invisible. Sometimes work is an overflowing inbox and an exploding plumbing pipe, and home is a trickle of tasks, and you kiss your spouse on the cheek as you're racing out the door. And leisure, well, what the hell is that, right? And sometimes you hit delete all. You slap tape on the pipe. You cuddle with your kid while Venmoing your lawn guy and breathing deeply. If my mom were here right now, I would tell her that I see her, that her contribution was valuable. As modern American working women, we have more options, and we have to do all the things at varying times, including delegate. And that, my friends, again, isn't balance, it's flow. And we have been doing it since time began. And that, my friends, is why I can't stand up here and teach you anything new. What I can do is remind you that operating in flow means decreasing the frictions caused by systems we didn't build and have no immediate control over. What I can do is spend the next little while reminding you of the warrior queen, mama bear, world lifting, get it done, brilliant, ass busting, making, doing, building phenomenon that you are. That's what I can do. I can remind you of that. And we're going to do it with flow. See what I did there? Welcome to the matriarchy. Let's begin. First, no. That's right, no is a complete sentence, my friends. And while we are world lifters, no, I won't just do this one more small thing. No, I will not again adjust my carefully crafted schedule because you forgot your sneakers or forgot you had a dentist appointment. No, I will not take the meeting notes. No, I will not make coffee. No, I will not bake the cupcakes for the classroom party. No, I will not keep quiet because it makes you comfortable. No, I will not be silenced not to ruffle any feathers. No, I will not adjust and bend and accommodate simply because you will not or cannot or it never occurred to you, because that's what's expected of me. And it never occurred to you. First, no. Did you know that the average person makes about 35,000 decisions in a day? 35,000 decisions in a day. And it's estimated that women with children make about 70,000 decisions in a day. 70,000 decisions. That's amazing. No wonder we all need naps, right? Decision fatigue is real, and it lives in rooms like this. As my daughter was growing up, I baked cookies for the classroom. I sewed costumes for plays. I built Halloween costumes. I went to all of the school events. I went to the parent-teacher conferences. I went to the sports and the intramurals, and I did all of the things, and I worked. My husband also worked. He never, not once, made a school-bound cupcake. Why do you think that is? Because it never actually occurred to him that he could or he should. I mean, he could read the box, obviously. But more importantly, it never occurred to me, or rarely occurred to me, that he could. I assumed the labor because that's what I thought I should do. And I did the thing that needed to be done. And sometimes I really resented it. So why do we have partners if we're not sharing the labor? All the labor. If this is our life and we choose to share it with someone, why are we not sharing the whole thing? How can we change systems out there when we are unwilling or unaware that we can change the systems we actually have control over? I participated and perpetuated in the patriarchal system that assigned the decisions and tasks along gender lines. And I was not the beneficiary of that system. It's a lot of friction. 70,000 decisions in one day. It's extraordinary to think about. And in reading about decision making, I learned that making a decision leads to a host of other decisions, and so on and so on. But what if the decision was no? No, end of decision. Now, I'm not saying it's easy. The difficulties with first no are twofold. One is mindset, and we'll get to that in a moment. The other is collateral happiness. Collateral happiness is secondhand joy. Women have been trained, and we have trained ourselves in this. It's a necessary component of the balance mythology. Collateral happiness is this: we do things for other people because it makes them happy. And because they're happy, we're happy. Our happiness is derived completely from their happiness. It's second-degree joy. Now, don't get me wrong, I like doing things for my family. Like when my husband, who is a coffee drinker, uses all the half and half and doesn't put it on the grocery list, but I see the carton in the garbage and I stop on my way home and I pick up more half and half, so he has it magically for the next morning. Or my daughter mentions that I'm the only person that she knows that makes strawberry shortcake. And voila, there is strawberry shortcake this week for dessert. There's a rich satisfaction in caretaking. Honestly, though, the last few years, I've really begun to examine how I've been trained to think of other people's joy as my own, and that it somehow validates me. Because it is a lot of work, because it takes time, and it's not frictionless. It's a heavy cognitive load. And if I didn't find some kind of satisfaction in it, then it's just labor. And if it's just labor, then what the hell am I doing with my life? Right? The balance mythology thrives not on me finding my own joy, but my bringing joy to my family, to my coworkers, to my community. It's what we're supposed to do. So again, what if I didn't go out of my way at the end of a long day to make yet another stop to buy him half and half? Am I a bad wife? And if I didn't make strawberry shortcake this week for dessert, am I a bad mom? No, of course not. The answer is no. Saying no is not selfish, even that we've been trained to think of it as selfish. Saying no is not selfish. If it brings me happiness, peace, or even a moment to breathe, saying no is not selfish, but it does require a mindset shift. Learn to let it go. Now, I'm not going to break out in song, I promise. Nor do I expect that it's as easy as let it go and everything is peaches and rainbows. But we can learn. We can shift the story we tell ourselves about who we should be to who we could be. We could be a woman who doesn't constantly sacrifice herself on the altar of secondhand joy. This is the mindset shift. This is what could be. Did you know that the US leads the world in beauty and personal care spending? In 2026, this year, global projections of this market are expected to be $636 billion. $375 billion for the US alone. Who's making those purchases? It's mostly women. But do you know who is leading the companies that are making those things that we are buying? Only 16% are women. Thought you should know. My point is, there is a behemoth, or a variety of behemoth industries that are seriously invested in making you be unhappy with yourself in a myriad of ways, with making you feel bad. Now, these systems gobble our dollars by creating the idea of a problem and then selling us the solution. Like, the problem is, let's say, you're aging. Like, aging isn't bad, but looking like you're aging is bad, right? You can age so long as you look 22 while you're doing it. And so these industries make us feel bad about ourselves. So we spend dollars on creams and Botox and vaginal wipes and, rubs and masks and peels and all of the things. And honestly, I'm going to tell you, frankly, I love them all. I do. I love my 12-step beauty routine. I do. I have bought in because I've been trained and coerced and marketed and mass mediated into loving it. But here is the mindset shift. Learning to let it go doesn't mean you let go of yourself, of your you-ness. I mean, frankly, you're going to have to pry my volcanic charcoal mask out of my cold, dead hands. But it means releasing the perfectionist voice. It means rejecting the narrative of, if I'm not perfect, I'm not good enough. Because that too is bullshit. And we eat it up. Speaking of eat, here's something else that burns my biscuit. So multiple times in the last year, I have heard about, whether it's been an article, an influencer, a podcaster, this phrase, mom guilt. And my first thought is, what fiendish hellscape is this? We have so bought in and been scapegoated to believe that if we're perfect, then our children will be perfect, happy, content, contributing members of society. Newsflash. It's not true. One of the biggest, most devastating lessons I have learned as a parent is this. Children are autonomous beings. I mean, who knew, right? We help shape them, but we cannot control them. They are not us. Since 1998, there have been a host of studies, substantial studies, that show that parents have far less influence on our children's lives than we might think. There's a psychological researcher, Judith Rich Harris, and she found that parental influence pales when compared with other environmental factors, such as the influence of peers and social media. Genes, friendships, life stressors, social media play a larger role in who our children are than we might have realized. So yes, our parenting plays a role in our children's lives, and so does a variety of other things that we have no control over. You know what that means? It means that mom guilt is bullshit. And we can stop staring obsessively at our own perceived shortcomings and let go of perfection. And also, let's not forget for a moment the mom guilt that is foisted on women without children. Women who do not have children for whatever reason. They are made to feel that they are somehow lacking, that they're deficient, that they're unfulfilled, even if they don't know it. Let go of perfection. Easier said than done, right? But who benefits from us feeling bad about ourselves? That is one of the most important questions, political, economic, intellectual, and emotional, that we can ask ourselves. And it is not a question of personal growth or knowledge. I mean, let's all do that. Let's look at ourselves, let's figure out who we are and who we want to be, and change that if it benefits and fulfills us. Perfection is not joyful. By chasing it, by buying into the balanced mythology, we keep setting ourselves up for failure. Perfect is the death of good. And so what if our new mantra was simply this? This is good. This is good. This is good. Say it with me. This is good. This is how we get to unbalanceable lives that are rich and satisfying and good. And we're going to call that our opus. Maybe you remember that movie from a few years ago. But what if we refer to what we call our lives as what is actually our masterpiece? We get one life. We get one life. And this is our opus of existence. So I want to take a moment. I'm going to ask you to breathe, pause for a moment, and I want you to close your eyes with me. I want you to imagine your 91-year-old self. Now, maybe your 91-year-old self is still sticking dollars down a Cabana Boys G. I make no judgments. Maybe your 91-year-old self is on the golf course. Maybe your 91-year-old self is tucked into bed and things are not working and maybe the end is near. But I want you to know that she is a masterpiece of accumulated wisdom, wildly diverse experiences, cackling humor, profound empathy, and knowledge that is difficult to imagine from this seat. That woman knows that making yourself small is wrong. She never regretted embracing scary things, and she wants you to continue to color outside the lines. She wants you to love strongly, not perfectly. And she's proud of you. That woman, that 91-year-old woman, is going to look back on the opus that is her life and embrace even the most cringeworthy of mistakes with grace and kindness, because she knows she is a universe unto herself. There never was, nor will there ever be, another being like her. You, she, are literally made of stardust and trauma and effort and reward and failure and heartbreak and rage and joy and so much love. And it's all good. I can confidently tell you that your 91-year-old self agrees with me. Balance is bullshit. That there is only living, doing the best that you can with what you have in the moment, treating everyone, especially yourself, with kindness and grace, and forgiving our mistakes. Letting go of the idea of perfect and instead doing and being and feeling good. And do you know how I know that? Because I'm your witness and you are mine. We are always, all the time, interacting and engaging with people. We affect people and are affected. We build lives with people so they can see us and we can see them. I chose my husband because he's funny and he has a dimple that is irresistible. And he sees me. And we build this life together that we each witness. And you have no idea how many opuses that you are part of that you know nothing about. We create ripples, lives. Opuses are a tapestry of people. And standing in front of you today is a joy that my 91-year-old self will smile about, with or without teeth. And maybe you walk away with something today that becomes part of your masterpiece. We've witnessed each other. Balance is an ephemeral idea. It's an expensive smoke and mirror trick, and it doesn't matter. It's bullshit. You are the masters of flow, moving from one thing to another, to another, to another. It was not my job today to teach you anything new, but to remind you of what your deepest and goodest self knows, that you are a masterpiece. I imagine if my mom were alive and I asked her about balancing all the things that she had to do, she'd laugh at me. Balance, she'd say. Balance, what is that? I just did what I thought I needed to do at the time as best I could. And sometimes it was wrong, and sometimes it was right. And I would say to her, I finally know that because I see you. And your contribution was not invaluable. I'm your witness. Thank you.